writing a couple of papers, so submitting them, pretty hectic deadlines. Yeah. Uh, I wonder.
Cool. So you're busy and good?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was busy. I am busy.
Nice. Thank you for coming, you all. I am feeling inspired with a lot of the things that are happening. Feels like fun projects working on, and hungry. It's 7 p.m. and I haven't eaten today yet. This is horrible. Should never do that again. Food is coming. And I've been in a little bureaucratic loop that has been distracting me a lot. Things don't work in Egypt. I need a VPN, and then my VPN doesn't work with the extension. I need to download the app, and then I forgot my iCloud password, and I'm locked out of that, so I can't download the app. And then with that, I can't access my exchange in Brazil, and I can't get money to buy my ticket to go to Kenya. It's all like, it feels like, oh my God, everything is locked under a horrible like tech meltdown. So I hope that gets solved soon. And
How is the grassroots economic commons going, Livy?
yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting. It's such a different work than the TEC though. And it's this moment of like really reflecting also on the choices we made in the TEC and what could be different, and just working with a project that's so established for so long. It's also challenging. There's different names for things and practices that need to be integrated. And I'm really, really excited to go to Kenya. So I really need to figure all that out so I can buy my ticket and just feel like I have a solid plan. Yeah. Yeah, let me share my screen. This is the questionnaire that we were thinking. So let me get the link too. Can you guys come here in the agenda? I'll post Softgov. So the reason why we wanted to do something like this is just because it feels like I heard of a few situations of advice process that are happening in too much of a siloed way. Things are not being shared. Like, I think that's the challenge of advice process is like, oh, when you know that someone can help you with something, you can go directly to them. But then limiting the scope of who could give opinions into something, it's also challenging. But then also we have the forum that has so much stuff in there and not enough participation. It feels like the stewards are the people who are most active in the community, and then the stewardship is changing, how to accommodate for new people that are stepping up, like you, Bear, and Kojak, and like how to have a more fluid stewardship style. And I think that's being discussed in the stewards working group, and how to not be so closed off and to hear more like signal from the community. And I think with the feedback we've been getting lately is like there is a division between the TEC community and the token engineering community. And I mean, there's a few reasons of why that happened, but also how can we bring more integration And is the TEC fulfilling its mission? What is the relationship with the TE Academy? I mean, there's too many questions and things going on that I think it's a delicate moment that we're all working to like create the best outcomes possible and understand our financial sustainability and also the challenges that we have in creating a sustainable economy for public goods, and how this is something that nobody has figured out, and how can we collaborate more with projects in the space. So yeah, having a sentiment analysis from the large community is going to be very important for us, I think, in this moment. And I thought of doing a form, but then Polis was suggested, and then there was this controversy with, like, is Polis giving us the results we need? Is a form going to give the results we need? What information we're actually looking for? And how can we achieve that in the best way possible, in which people will engage and will have information that can help us. So there are too many open questions. I think the first one is, what type of signal we would like to have from the community and how that could help us. Do you guys have any insights into that? Or we could read the list of questions I proposed, and we could have a little work time on them and discussing if this is the best approach or not.
Yeah, I think it would be good to read them first, just to get the context.
Do you want to read them, Bear?
Yeah, sure. I'm not in the doc, but I can do it from the screen sharing.
Is it too small? I can make it bigger.
I think it's fine. Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's better. Okay, so the TEC makes me feel valued for my contributions to the token engineering space. We should continue to fund token engineering related proposals. We should stop funding proposals until we have sustainable income. The TEC could collaborate more with token engineering projects. I'm satisfied with the tone and narrative the TEC uses in social media. I know how the Comms Working Group operates. I trust Gravity Working Group for conflict resolution. I know what the Transparency Working Group focuses on. I know what Sample Working Group is doing. I know what the Steward Working Group is planning. I know what Communitas Working Group is doing. I know what Softgov is doing. I know what Omega is doing. We're really far from achieving TEC's mission. I feel aligned with the TEC's mission, vision, and values. I'm waiting for the token to end to sell all my tokens. I feel motivated to be part of the token engineering commons. The praise system fails in rewarding the token engineering community. The praise system is important for the TEC. I know how to create a sustainable model for a public goods focused economy. The TEC has made significant contributions to the field of token engineering. I think the TEC extracts more value than it provides. I believe the TEC is going to be successful in funding token engineering public goods. I am a token engineer. As a stakeholder, I feel represented by TEC community stewards.
Thank you. Yeah, so Polis works in with statements, and then people can agree, disagree, or be absent about their opinion on the statements. And then the idea is that you get an analytics that you can look at, like how people behaved with those questions, with those statements. So one thing that we were questioning in the stewards call yesterday was, like, how can we get a meaningful feedback about how the working groups are doing? And and the stewards are doing in the face of the community, and if these statements as they are would offer any type of insight that we could work with.
So like my first kind of like opinion on this is that a lot of these are really important questions that I don't think might be just like have a simple answer or like a yes or no kind of answer, right? I think through the police, you probably could get some sentiment, but like I would say like uh, pretty basic. I think a lot of these questions need more of a reason as an answer, you know. And I don't think police would be able to probably provide that. But maybe as a first step, it would be good because I think they are all important topics, like really important questions to be asking ourselves. Um, Probably I would include some of the things that you said here at the beginning. You said something about relationship with a token engineering academy, that there was some kind of like, I think you said separation between the TEC and token engineering. So I think those are like super important things to discuss and that we could probably add here as well. I don't know. Those are like my first impressions right now.
Yeah. Can I make a point? Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The way I see it is basically there's a pretty strong undertone of discontent in all these particular points. And essentially, people don't seem to be getting rewarded for their contributions. Uh, a sense of kind of dissatisfaction.
It's a little bit hard to hear you, Kojak,
Yeah.
or the
Is it any
sound
better?
isn't coming so clear.
Is it any better now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just holding the mic close to my mouth. Okay. I mean, I think there's a very strong undertone of discontent, running through these particular points, and basically people don't seem to be satisfied with the prospect of rewards which they can get here for this. And ultimately, if you look at it, I mean, I think a lot of people are looking for some sort of a basic sustenance. I mean, they can't keep on going without getting some sort of monetary incentive. So that the economic aspect has got to be tackled, on an extremely urgent basis. And I think a utility token, a well-designed utility token, can actually provide a lot of solutions to this underlying problem, which is what my presentation was about.
Yeah. I mean, this is being looked at, and Sample Working Group is working a lot on that. And there is this investigation on the utility of the TEC. But this, and I would say, is somehow I mean, I think there is a general dissatisfaction with the compensation model. But I would say it's somehow an assumption that to function, we need well, I think there are other types of value that not only financial value, that while the financial value is built, that we could be relying on in this transition period. And I agree that the financial value is super important. And then for what we're talking about now specifically, is like how can we gather this feedback from the community in the most clear way possible? So maybe we have this three categories of financial, organizational, and relational. And under financial, there's questions about the reward system, the grant engine, like conviction voting. Anything else you guys think under financial token utility?
No, see, one point which I tried making is that the value which is being created within the TEC community and the potential for value creation is extremely high. And the tragedy seems to be that token engineering is supposed to be able to convert that. Where token engineering is basically about being able to use mechanism design to convert that value into financial incentives. So it's a bit ironical that that this particular ecosystem is not able to produce its own dog food, and it is possible. I mean, I don't know whether Sampo is working on anything other than trying to create revenues through treasury management. Where would I mean? I mean, is there any serious effort to actually create a utility token?
Yeah, there are two projects on. So yeah, you can explain better there.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's yeah, we are Kojak. There are some projects that are starting to come up as a simple iteration first. Something a part of the principles of Sampo, is just to deliver something simple and start iterating on it to improve it over time. So we have a couple of projects like this token holder channel within the Discord channel that only TEC holders will have access to. So maybe it's something pretty small, pretty simple, but it's kind of just like a starting point for finding token utility. And we also have this other token engineer request board. This is another project that would like to incorporate the token utility while basically how it would work is that the TEC could become like the point in which projects could find token engineers or token engineer groups that could take in on those projects. So we would be like kind of matchmaking projects with token engineering suppliers, let's call them. And we would have some token utility dynamic within that collaboration. So those are kind of like right now two of the projects that we have, and the
Yeah,
idea is to keep just building on top of this.
Yeah, okay, great. Because which is exactly what my presentation was about.
Okay, yeah. Like I think I think you will attend, but you're completely invited tomorrow to the Sampo call, so you can get a better feeling on the different initiatives and start like participating and contributing more into them. So yeah, like let's dive in. Absolutely.
Okay, fine.
In terms of here, Livy, the what you were saying, something else to add here on the financial section. Maybe I would add like compensation as kind of like a bigger topic, and maybe the reward system under that, because then you have like salaries, right? You have bounties, different models that could be applied that all maybe fall under compensation structure.
Yeah, I mean, in my particular model, it's like having a currency for this particular ecosystem. Like in the sense that any type of activity could be sort of incentivized. Like people could be incentivized for doing any. I mean, like I help you create a presentation, or you take input from me. You could reward me. So actually, that actually catalyzes the whole ecosystem because there's so much of value which is being actually mean, there's so much of value potential. And if you're talking about token engineering, then this is what it is all about. The real point is that why are we not capitalizing on it? Fine. Uh, the idea is to start off with small experiments, iterate, but it should be iterated against a very large framework, a large framework which actually solves all the problems. I mean, it can solve all the problems. That's what my presentation was. Anyway, I mean, it's great to hear that Sapo is actually doing something about it. On those lines, but I'll attend tomorrow to get a better hang of it.
Yeah. Kojak, I would love to, I feel like all that you're saying is the answer. If you were answering the form we are creating, you would say probably what you're saying. But now we are like a step behind of trying to find the questions, of gathering inputs like yours from everyone in the community. So I would love to focus on that, and we can move forward with this form. Maybe it is better to have it as a form and not as polis. And then we can gather community feedback, like what you're giving, which is super important. But if we structure this in the best way possible, then we can get from many people and have a consistent way of analyzing the feedback. So is there anything else under financial that we could consider? So maybe these are topics to which we would have questions for. So conviction voting and like the access to common pool. Maybe maybe the behavior of the bonding curve too.
Yeah, I was maybe something to do with kind of like reporting and kind of like accountability of financial issues, and maybe like even planning as well. Yeah, maybe that would go into organizational, because I think accountability could be like either in the work and the operations of the different contributors, but also accountability in terms of funding, right, of the money that working groups have. So I don't know how would you like organize it there, but just bringing that point up.
Yeah, that's important, because I think how to be accountable, it's a matter of like management, right? Like how are we getting that accountability?
Right. Yeah, sounds good.
Accountability, planning, stewardship.
Maybe narrative.
Maybe that's another topic.
Mm-hmm. Under organizational, probably working groups, like a specific thing. Narrative, probably mission, vision, values.
Nice.
There's something I really like on that regard that Kojak has also talked about before. That is called an MTP. It stands for Massive Transformative Purpose. This is used across some type of organizations, like teal organizations. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it's an interesting concept, because it really brings like the essence of the project or of the organization into a really simple, massive transformative purpose. Kind of like an interesting concept that might be interesting to explore and add it into this narrative. Just as a suggestion.
Yeah, I'd like to possibly fill in there, saying that against, I mean, like, almost any sort of an initiative can be framed against a massively transformative purpose, and which accomplishes, a large purpose of the organization, and they within this particular massively transformative purpose, you can have a moonshot which releases the what's called the exponentiality of the purpose of cause, and you have milestones to this particular moonshot, and basically uh, the idea is to fund these tiny milestones, or focus on these milestones, and once you achieve one or two sequential milestones, then the confidence in achieving the moonshot and also the purpose actually increases, and it's massively invigorating for the organization. It actually draws in funding. That's you know people like to work for a cause, not just a tiny project. And anyway, what really drives me is the cause of the TE Commons more than anything else.
Yeah, the cause. Yeah, that's a good way.
That's
So
one way of
add
putting it.
here contributor motivation. I think it captures what you're talking.
Yeah, and
And relationship with token engineering projects.
Relationship with TEC holders.
and what I basically say is that almost all the initiatives out here, from gravity to, they're creating value. Uh, it's not just TE Academy which is creating value, but I go further and I say that every form of value creation can be monetized. That's what
Yeah.
you know. That's what token engineering is about. And if and it's ironical that we're not able to do it. And
You're breaking up, Kojak.
Well, he comes back. Maybe in relational, we could have partnerships as well.
am I clear now? Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, it's better. Okay, yeah. So what I what, what I'm trying to say is that there's tremendous of value within TEC, within the TEC ecosystem, which can be monetized, and uh, we should be we should be focusing on that. Actually, we should be focusing on creating one particular model, proving that this particular concept works, and then it can be replicated across all possible value additions.
Yeah. Kodak, I understand what you're saying and I think it's really valuable, but I would like to continue on the focus of this work, that is
Yeah.
to create a form and some questions for us to get that type of feedback. And I think we can expand on what you're bringing up on another session, because I think it's very interesting. Like on the presentation, we still didn't have a chance to look deeper into your presentation. So maybe for next week or something, we could plan for it. Okay. So what is do you guys think it would be better to have this in the form of like having as open questions that people can be descriptive about? Hi, Nate.
Yeah.
That's a good question. That's what I was thinking about, because at least in my experience, sometimes when they are open questions and you need to explain everything, it's kind of like more, sometimes you just don't feel like doing it. So, right? Sometimes, for example, multiple choice or having some options, or even the policy thing, like just being able to say yes or no, agree or disagree, that makes it easier and simpler to answer. But again, I think some of these are not simple answers, so maybe a mix between uh, different ways of asking questions. And also, I was gonna comment that maybe a lot of input that we could add into here could come from the SWOT analysis board from the Figma. Now that I'm thinking about, I think especially on the strengths and weaknesses, internally on the TEC, I think we could get a lot of different topics to add into the poll.
Yeah, in fact, what the Figma and what I don't know the top. I mean, what all the top guys have done. The vision. It seems to be a kind of an extension, and there's a lot of that. I mean, there's a lot of linkages between both. And anyway, we can have that discussion a little later. But there, my presentation. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I agree. How can we do that?
Sorry, how can we do what exactly?
How can we integrate the feedback that we already have?
Yeah. In fact, if you see my post in the soft governance, basically what I've said is using the SWOT analysis which we have done, we have basically arrived at a kind of a strategy for tackling the problems of uh, of the TEC ecosystem. Now, uh, Figma, sorry, the 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 other one in which everybody else they've actually formed a vision.
You're,
Is my
you're,
voice clear? They formed a vision. So what I basically said is that actually we can test to see whether this particular strategy which is given is able to achieve all the aspects of the vision. That is an exercise which we can do. And if so, then ratify the strategy.
yeah, we just don't have that much information in the SWOT analysis. It's not as many people. I think it's the valuable feedback that we already have that we should integrate somehow, but not use that as a base. I think we should just have something a little more that like a link or something that we can send to people that we could collect this. And I think it could be anonymous or not. People could have the option of being anonymous or not.
No, are you saying, I mean, what you're doing is actually, are you preparing a kind of a questionnaire which can be sent to everybody?
Yeah.
That's what you're sort of saying. Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, but what I'm talking about is basically a strategy and a solution which comes out of the SWOT analysis which has been done. Uh, if- so I agree that particular strategy may be jumping the gun, jumping the gun quite a bit, and we can wait for the questionnaire to be completed and use those questions can be framed against a kind of a SWOT sort of a framework. This is just a thought.
Cool. Yeah, if you want to work on that, that sounds good, and then we can integrate whenever we have something. And for this, um, do you think so? What do you think, Juan? Haven't heard much from you.
Yeah, I think that the statements are are good. I also think that um, that issue that Kojak is mentioning is something that not only the TEC is experimenting, and that it's like the real question that we are still questioning, and I also think like the token engineering field is still a very nascent field, and that we don't have like perfect answers. It would be really cool if we could meet the promise of being DAOs being the future of work and of human coordination, but we still are in this gray area where there is still a lot of financial instability and a lot of processes that are still like getting into a standard. And yeah, I also understand how difficult it is to make everyone feel that that their contribution is fairly rewarded. But I also financially, but I also agree with Livy that just participating in these environments also gives us certain rewards that are not only financial but like socially. We are being able to spread a message and to share a message, and we are being able to be recognized, to build social networks, to also learn a lot, and from that comes then other opportunities. But like I think that we still don't have a magic thing that we can do for us and reproduce to everyone. We're still figuring out, and I think that also some of the things that we are struggling are not just because of us, but are because of a macro environment. Like yeah, we are seeing in the whole Web3 movement that we still have a lot of volatility, and like we still see ourselves impacted a lot by what we call like bear and bull markets. And it is strange because also I think that it's different timings that things have. And like right now we are thinking on how to make financial revenue, but within a market that it's in crisis. But I think that by the way that we are structured, and um, by just the right timing, um, when the market conditions are better, we will also um, feel a better condition in from what we're able to reward our contributors. I feel that yeah, maybe sometimes we want things to move fast all the time, and sometimes like we move fast and then we stop a little bit, and then we have to see, look back and revalidate. And yeah, I also think and agree with Kojak that all of the working groups that we have created value, but sometimes we also have to wait for other people to recognize the value. Maybe we, and that this is something that I really think every day that I talk and participate in the TC, we are looking really far ahead to the world reality that we still have. And yeah, it's a
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So concretely, how can we make this happen? Simple question, we using a form or the police? It sounded like people were more drawn to the police because it's faster, it requires less engagement, and maybe with this structured a little bit better, we could come up with statements for each one of these topics. And maybe we could use the statements that already exist, but now thinking better, I think they're not that good. So if they are, if we have more of a focus like this, we could write statements for each one of them. Do you guys think that sounds good, or that we still should aim for a form?
I think that yeah, the policy is more fast.
Okay. Anyone
Yeah,
has a different opinion?
yeah. I think I would also go with the police. Maybe we could call it kind of like as an initial stage, and then based on the results we get, then we could go deeper if we think it's necessary. But at least to begin with, I think policy is good.
Cool. Can we use this last 10 minutes to write some statements under here? Are you guys all able to access the document, or I don't know if you're on computer, mobile, if you're able to access it?
Statements or questions?
Polis works with statements. So statements where people will agree, disagree, or be absent about.
Should we write them follow, like next to the word or below the list?
I think below the list. Let's see. We can add on the.
So as we're adding statements, I wanted to ask you a question, Liviade,
Mhm.
regarding the 12th Rune policy document, and the intent was to ratify it through snapshot. Should I
The
go
what?
ahead and do that? Yeah,
The what policy?
the 12th Rune policy document.
Yeah, it has been in the forum for 5 days already, right?
Yep. Is that okay? Do I need to have any special settings in terms of what type of voting I use?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just using single choice voting now because we don't have the quadratic voting.
Okay, cool.
And then the voting period should be, I think, is 4 days. Double check. Yeah, this is something that would be so amazing to have, like a quick infographic about this. Yeah, 4 days voting.
Okay. Do you think I should post it today, or should I set up announcements and stuff first?
I think you can post today and then announce. Up
Okay.
to you.
Okay.
And then just good practice to just put a TLDR in the snapshot body and then link the form.
Sounds good.
Sorry, right now I'm not able to write anything down, but I might do it after if that's okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you have anything that you're thinking? I can also write it for you.
Well, so right now maybe I was just thinking more on the ones you already wrote. Maybe where would they fit in? I think there's some like I think you had some for example for the working groups that are like pretty basic that I think they should be included. Like what is the working group doing or what is it? Something like that. I think that one should be pretty good.
Yeah, that was a question actually. We discussed a little bit what would be the best way to get insights into the working groups. And I don't know if this is a good metric, like just knowing how many people know about what's happening on them or not, or if we should have a different statement
No,
to access.
I think it's an important statement. Actually, today I came across, well, I think Nate even answered to him a post from Innovator, kind of like a little concern about like newcomers coming to the server and really not knowing what's happening. So I guess that's really related with this statement. Onboarding, right? Maybe that would be like a part of the organizational.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And what else on the working groups? I wanted to get some type of feeling of like if people find it even useful to have certain working groups, but I think that feels delicate and somehow rude.
Yeah, no, I think I would share that feeling as well. Yeah, I think it would be delicate, but might be kind of like a hard question, but maybe like the answers bring up something that it's hard to tell. I don't know. Yeah, it's maybe it needs more advice from other people or opinions, but I don't think it's a bad idea to include that.
Mm.
or maybe more about the role of the working group. Like if they feel, because sometimes it feels like the working groups have different like purposes. Some of them are more like focused on building like services and kind of like more work, and then there are others that are more like bound by like an interest or by like a certain discussion that emerges from there, more like surrounded by the community that share like some interest and they discuss about it. So maybe there's like a difference between the different types of working groups that is there and that we might not be aware of, and that could help maybe.
Yeah, does this sound okay? Like working group X is needed to achieve the TEC mission?
Mm-hmm.
It is important for, how could this be phrased better?
Yeah, I'm trying to think because I think there would be like working groups that their work is more like direct to achieving the TEC's mission, but then there might be other working groups that their work and their purpose might not be as direct, but it's still important for the community, kind of like that difference. But I don't know how to state it. Let me think.
Yeah, but then they would both be important for the mission in the end of the day, right? Like
Right.
directly or
Yeah,
indirectly.
like in their own way. That's true. Yes.
And maybe understanding the perspective people have of that. Like if we have a signal, like let's say Softgov might not be important for directly for the TEC mission, but it has an organizational or I don't know,
Exactly. Yeah.
a cultural component to it, governance, management, and it would be interesting to understand how many people see that relationship and how many people don't. And then if there is a big signal that like, oh, it's not important for the TC mission, maybe there's some type of restructuring that needs to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. And for example, sometimes I feel like just for the fact of being a working group, you are kind of like expected to accomplish certain things. For example, like a funding proposal. Like every working group should have a funding proposal at some point. Maybe that's not the case, right? Maybe there are some groups that they don't actually need a funding proposal, or they don't need funds to actually fulfill its purpose or its mission, right? Or maybe in a different way, right? Or it's kind of expected that all working groups need to build something, need to build a service or a product. Maybe that's not the case either.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like expectations for working groups. Maybe something like that.
But then that would be like a question. How can we put that into a statement?
Yeah. Mm.
Well, maybe we'll have good insights with these two questions already. I know what the working group is doing, and working group X is important for achieving the mission. And maybe on the financial, stewards' compensation should be paid by the common pool.